chop, they are already washed.
It is all a mindset. Delicious.
To a president.
What else can I do? Get a shower couple and dancers.
Watch these programs and more on NTA Entertainment Channel 105 on Star Times. NTAE, your one-stop entertainment channel.
Glad to have you join us on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. This is Nationwide. I am Ronke Kolawole. A consultative forum aimed at giving the civil society organizations considerable level on the focus of the federal government policies of power sector recovery was the focal point at an interactive session by Minister of Power, Works and Housing. Usman Aliyu has that report.
This interaction is a step further to bring out issues on policy actions, operations, governance and financial interventions to be implemented by federal government in the next 5 years with a view to improve the Nigerian electricity supply for economic growth.
We know that the industries are not getting enough power. But the correct statement is not because there is no power. Because the reality is that we have 7,000 and we are selling 5. So the conversation we should be having is how to connect to the two.
Questions, observations and suggestions were raised on regulations and service delivery. In the end, hope for success and stability of electricity supply is what people here are craving for.
There are a lot of issues, that comes up that we do behind the curtain and we get the issue and make sure that consumers get the best and value for money.
Usman Aliyu, NTA News.
And to other news, farmers and processors of maize in Nigeria have resolved to cultivate fortified maize varieties that contain micronutrients for good health and improved income. The resolution was reached at a national stakeholders meeting in Abuja, as reported by John Yaku.
World Health Organization records indicate that more than 2 billion people do not get enough essential vitamins A, zinc and iron in their daily diet, which leads to a condition known as hidden hunger. This is attributed to poverty and the cost of food containing such vitamins. Consequently, many families rely on staple food such as cassava, maize and rice. It is to address this that fortified cassava, maize, rice and wheat were developed. Nigerian maize farmers and processors have at this national stakeholders meeting resolved to grow more of such variety and are seeking partnership with research institutes to make the seedlings available and affordable.
If you don't have vitamin A in your system, it may lead to blindness and it may also lead to low humidity.
This meeting to find solution on what we should do as an association to enable our farmers get the best bargain. We have to change from the system we had in the 50s so that we can meet up with the international community.
FACAN is ready to assist you on this important national assessment.
Among the mandate is to create an enabling environment to stimulate domestic investment and attract foreign direct investment in all sectors of the economy.
The The objective of the meeting is to fight hidden hunger with more nutritious food and ensure food security. In Abuja, John Yaku, NTA News.
And still talking agriculture matters, state governments have been urged to be actively involved in rice production if Nigeria intends to attain self-sufficiency in the product. Guests on Good Morning Nigeria, who suggested this, also stressed the need for the federal government to tackle smuggling headlong to promote local production. Kunle Adeyeye has the details.
With the recent increase in rice production in Nigeria, the country's status as one of the largest importers globally has changed to one of the largest producers of the commodity. The guests attributed this development to many interventions initiated by the federal government to revolutionize rice farming in Nigeria. Kebbi State Governor and Chairman Presidential Task Force on Rice and Wheat Production, Abubakar Atiku Bagudu, said state governments can strengthen the rice production in their states by being actively involved in the production activities. He disclosed that participation in rice farming has improved nationwide.
Our farmers, supported by government policy, are embracing the proper ways of producing rice that is enabling us achieve yields that compare to the best in the world.
National President, Rice Farmers Association of Nigeria, Aminu Goronyo, wants improvement on facilities given to farmers so as to reduce the risk involved in the sector.
The situation is favorable to virtually all our farmers wherever they are located. If you are in the south, you have a comparative advantage for you to grow rice 3 times a year. And if you are located in the northern part of the country, you also have comparative advantage to grow rice 3 times in a year.
And the acting director of Corporate Communications Department of the Central Bank of Nigeria Kunle
was sent across.
Yes, this is a national emergency that the country needs to pay urgent attention to.
From this year, particularly in this year budget, we should find a way of funding the budget to take care of preventing this disease that is killing people every year.
It's the shame of a nation. This is something that's been with us for over 40 years. And yet we are still talking of only one laboratory for diagnosing this very, very serious disease.
It is time government may also have to consider giving some credit support to medical practitioners and health givers that intends, to set up a medical practice so that be able to have sufficient health facilities to discourage our people from traveling abroad for medical care.
The lawmakers also passed the Arbitration and Conciliation Act 2006, Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2018, and the Emergency Powers Repeal and Reenactment Bill of 2018. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives has passed 3 bills for third reading. These include the bill for an act to amend the Electoral Act No. 6 of 2010 and Electoral Amendment Act 2015. The bills seek, among other issues, to provide a timeline for the submission of lists of candidates, criteria for substitution of candidates and limit of campaign expenses.
I move for a bill for an act to amend the provisions of the Electoral Act No. 6, 2010 and Electoral Amendment Act 2015 to provide a timeline for the submission of lists of candidates, criteria for substitution of candidates, limit of campaign expenses, and address the omission of names of candidates or logos of political parties, and for related matters be read the third time. I so move.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against it say nay. Ayes have it. Clerk is invited to read the long title of the bill.
Provisions of the Electoral Act No. 6, 2010 and Electoral Amendment Act 2015 to provide for timeline for the submission of list of candidates, criteria for substitution of candidates, limit of campaigns expenses, and address the omission of names of candidates or logos of political parties, and for related matters. Third reading.
A bill for an act to facilitate the development of Nigeria's stock exchange from a company limited by guarantee to the public company limited by shares was also passed for second reading. Still staying with the National Assembly, the House Committee on Information, National Orientation, Ethics and Values is advocating reform in the country's budgetary system to ensure adequate implementation of the budget. National Assembly correspondent Kenneth Nanim reports that the committee took the position at the 2018 budget defense of the agencies under its legislative oversight.
National Orientation Agency, Advertising Practitioners Council of Nigeria, APCON, Voice of Nigeria, VON, and the Nigerian Film Corporation appeared before the House Committee on Information, National Orientation, Ethics and Values to defend their 2018 budget proposals. In 2017, 404.4 million naira was appropriated as capital budget for National Orientation Agency, of which only 50% was released. The agency urged the committee to ensure the amendment of its Establishment Act to avoid duplication of functions and allow for effective activities of the agency, especially in the rural areas. Considering 224.6 million naira 2018 budget proposal for APCON, the committee demanded additional information on the internally generated revenue profile, staff strength as of December 2017, as well as other relevant information. The committee observed some adjustments on the 2018 budget proposal of the Voice of Nigeria.
It's like we're desperate about a document.
Be made available. Of the NTA.
At a
Amidst pomp and ceremony, Rear Admiral Onaji's tour of duty ends at the Logistics Command Ogara as he resumes duty at the Naval Headquarters, Abuja, as the Chief of Naval Safety and Standards. As he bids farewell to the command, a charge to ensure successful operations on the high sea, shallow and backwaters is handed down to the personnel in order to stem the tide of piracy and illegal bunkering.
The task of combating crude oil theft is an operational task given to the operational commands. That is the Eastern Naval Command, Central Naval Command, and the Western Naval Command. These are the commands entrusted with the ships and facilities to combat crimes in our maritime environment.
For the new FOC, sustaining the success recorded and surpassing it is a mandate officers and ratings must deliver on every operation in keeping the waters safe. Isaac Nkuma, NTA News.
In the meantime, the Nigerian Air Force Makurdi Tactical Air Command has given assurance of its commitment to supporting other security agencies towards tackling security challenges in Benue State. The new officer commanding Air Vice Marshal Oladayo Amao stated this while taking over the command from Air Vice Marshal Mohammed Idris, who has been deployed to the Training Command, Nigerian Air Force Kaduna. Godwin Inalewu has the report.
Tactical Air Command's color to the new Air Officer Commanding Air Vice Marshal Ishaka Amao, the outgoing Air Officer Commanding Air Vice Marshal Mohammed Idris, thanked officers and men of the command for the support given to him and urged them to extend same to the new Air Officer Commanding to succeed. He described Air Vice Marshal Amao as a disciplined officer who has the pedigree to take the command to the next level.
It has been a very challenging time, but by the grace of God, we have been able to wade through the storm and we have had some degree of success as a team. Warfare is all about teamwork.
The new Air Officer Commanding Air Vice Marshal Ishaka Amao expressed gratitude for the opportunity given to him to serve. He promised to build on the achievements of his predecessor.
The outgoing Air Officer Commanding has done a good job and has been able to bring together the security agencies to be able to tackle some of the problems. The ones all I'm just here to do is to continue from where I stopped, and hopefully we will get there.
Until his new posting, Air Vice Marshal Amao was the Director of Operations, Nigeria Air Force Headquarters, Abuja. In Makurdi, Godwin Inalegu, NTA News.
And still on security, the Nigerian Air Force remotely piloted craft has successfully destroyed another Boko Haram terrorist gun truck in Sambisa General area. A statement by the Director of Public Relations and Information, Air Vice Marshal Olatokunbo Adesonya, indicates that the NAF RPA sighted the gun truck around Alpha while on a routine armed reconnaissance of the area following the dislodgement of the soldiers from their camp. The airstrike by the NAF RPA resulted in the immediate destruction of the vehicles in the targeted locations, killing the Boko Haram terrorists. And Lagos is first on our lineup as we join Ademola to bring us stories trending at the center of excellence. Over to you, Ademola. And it's good afternoon from me.
Thank you, Ronke, and thanks for joining us in Lagos. Media practitioners have been challenged to see themselves as stakeholders in preserving Nigeria's image by reporting events that will have positive impact on the country's reputation. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Geoffrey Oyema, stated this at a forum in Lagos.
Discussing the topic, the Nigerian foreign policy in a changing world, what role for the Nigerian media? The Minister of Foreign Affairs, who was represented, explained that Nigeria has been given its due recognition by African countries and the rest of the world. This is because of its immense contribution to global peace. He noted that the present administration is making efforts to redirect Nigeria as foreign policy to address its immediate challenges. Those challenges, he pointed out, include solving the problem of insurgency in the northeast, revamping the national economy, putting a stop to corruption, improvements in power and education. The minister, however, called on the media to help promote the country's foreign policy. Other speakers are of the view that the media has a critical role to play in foreign policy by reporting events that will enhance the image of the country to the rest of the world.
What I would wish to see is that the Nigerian media should enhance the image of our country and not deride it. When you do that, we all suffer.
The media continues to be very relevant, in times, of explaining and elucidating what contains in the foreign policy of Nigeria in reaction to what we get, from the international system.
Observers are of the opinion that government cordial relationship with the media will, to a large extent, redirect Nigeria's foreign policy for the good of the nation.
An effective national quality policy to ensure that Nigeria products and services are highly rated in the certification index has been advocated. The resource persons at a nationwide promotional and awareness campaign on quality in Lagos said this can be achieved through consistent compliance with international standards. Annie Daniels reports.
Quality is a word used in our everyday life and quite often relates to something being exceptionally good. Resource persons at this National Quality Implementation Project Conference cited serviceability, durability, reliability, features, aesthetics, conformance, performance, and perceived quality as characteristics of a good quality. They were quick to point out that absence of some of these characteristics has resulted in the rejection of Nigeria's products overseas.
The certification index of China is more than 65%, India is more than 60%, Pakistan is more than 60%, but in Nigeria it is still at 4%.
The media must be in the forefront, must understand what are the quality content. And once we understand what the quality contents are, we also will be able to drive quality. And that way we would evolve a quality culture in Nigeria.
This training program, therefore, is aimed at bringing to the consciousness of manufacturers, producers and consumers the need to support Nigeria's competitiveness in trade and investment.
Quality and standard benefits all. So that is the point where we are driving at.
You as a consumer, whom the council stands vehemently to protect, is disserviced.
But beyond just being the right, Nigerian has to own up to ask for whatever they want.
The project is funded by the European Union, implemented by UNIDO in collaboration with the federal government through the Consumer Protection Council.
Well, those are some of the stories we have on our desk from Lagos. It's back to you, Ronke, for more on Nationwide. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, Ademola. Thanks. Nigeria is among the third world countries seemingly technologically backwards, yet parades 17 research institutes and dozens of polytechnics and universities of technology. Science correspondent Kyria Numayo examines the pace of technological development in Nigeria and the missing link.
A nation is said to be technologically backwards when it cannot produce capital goods such as tractors, drilling machines, cars, trains, and other earth-moving machines. It is more so when such a nation relies on foreigners for the exploitation of her natural resources, supply of spare parts and industrial machines, and lacks the capacity to mechanize agriculture. Major reason for this backwardness, experts believe, is the discouragement of technical growth by insufficient investment in research, development and innovation by successive governments since independence. The private sector has also been blamed for showing little or no interest in the growth of indigenous technology.
Before independence and shortly after independence, we had thriving technical schools, the technical colleges, and people were taught basic things on how to produce. Creativity came in also, whereby a few things could be done. But especially in the oil boom, we stopped thinking.
If you take an engineer that is a graduate from Nigeria, you place him where he has facilities. Now test him with others from other countries. They will always excel. engineering principles are the same all over the world. We study the law of motion as the same way the ones abroad we do. But what happens is the application.
Best thing to do is to focus on our rereading the industrialization roadmap in a way that will make it possible for us to think of our endowments, our value chains.
Nigeria has 17 research institutes under the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology, each with a mandate to carry out research in different fields of scientific endeavor. Lack of patenting and commercialization of research findings from these institutes have been described as the bane of technological advancement in Nigeria.
Our researchers, our artisans have been doing well, and the private sector need to take off this and move them to the next level. Whatever innovation we have, whatever invention we have that has the potential to translate into product and services, you have to protect it first. Protection in terms of patenting.
We get our priorities wrong because all nations that have developed have given adequate attention, funding, political will and support to science, technology, and innovation. Our own, even where the policy is in existence to achieve this, there is policy inconsistency.
The 2017 Technology Expo revealed the capacity of Nigerians in technology-driven products. From Naseni is the aircraft engine, electronic voting machine, and then hydro turbine and kinetic turbines installed in River Akwanga for electricity generation, solar modulars and products also from Naseni, fish dryers, and of course rice thresholds. And I also have wooden car by Ahmed from Niger State and much more. And the big question is, when can all these machinery be commercialized as a step, towards breaking the jinx of technological backwardness in Nigeria? Kirian Umayo, NTA News.
Thank you, Kirian. That's food for thought. You're watching NTA Nationwide. We now go on a short commercial break. More reports thereafter.
Hate speech is not a joke. It incites genocide and crimes against humanity. Most of Africa's civil wars are caused by hate speech from one tribe against another. We don't want it here. The Nigerian government stands firm against hate speech.
Under no conditions whatsoever should we tolerate or excuse or justify hate speech or hateful conduct of any kind, especially where such is illegal.
There's no doubt that the resurgent push for separatism, as well as the rising cases of ethnic and religious disharmony, are all traceable to the growing phenomenon of hate speech.
One nation bound in freedom, peace and unity.
Nigeria, one nation, one people.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
Catfishing, cyberbullying, impersonation, identity theft.
Nadia, I'm happy here.
And all manner of internet fraud are rife in our society today. And Prophet Gambul cannot turn a blind eye and pretend like it's not happening.
We have to be very careful because of the pseudonymous, anonymous, and incognito of the internet now.
This week on your rib-cracking comedy, we bring you the episode titled Fake Accounts.
What are they?
Abba, join us and see how Korede Bello's name and image was used to catfish our simple and good-natured Medoya.
But I sent them for you, man. Oh, sorry.
Quarter don't day now. Now, yeah, going on 90 quarter won't start.
You have been catfish. Yeah? Over and out.
Brought to you by Glow.
The largest data network, Glow Unlimited.
Our Anchor Borers program has created an agricultural revolution. In September 2015, we imported 644,000 tons of rice, costing more than $5 million per day. By September 2017, rice imports dropped by 95% to 22,000 tons. Our maize crop has exceeded 10 million tons this year. And through our rice and maize program, we now have 12.2 million farmers. We are now the world's second largest producer of sorghum after the United States, third in millet after India, and we lead the world's production of yam and cassava. We've created numerous plantations solely for the export market, and our plan is to increase the agricultural sector from 25 to 49% of our GDP, thereby reducing poverty and increasing food security.
You're still watching Nationwide on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. Top Ijaw leaders have been meeting to have a common position on the voting pattern in 2019 general elections. The meeting, hosted by Ijaw national leader Chief Edwin Clark, resolved to vote any candidate who shows enough commitment to restructuring. Thelma Eliogo reports.
The meeting, which held behind closed doors, lasted 4 hours. Briefing newsmen afterwards, the governor of Bayelsa State, Siriake Dixon, said the leaders took a critical look at the issues of restructuring and affirmed their position that it is a matter of survival of the Ijaw people. He said the meeting, which had in attendance the deputy governor of Delta State, Kingsley Otuaro, and other Ijaw leaders from Edo, Akwa Ibom, and Ondo states, resolved that Ijaw people will only vote candidates with genuine and demonstrable support for restructuring, irrespective of political party.
People shouldn't play politics with this serious issue of restructuring. But let me also, on behalf of our people, make it clear that the next election, the 2019 general election, for us as the Ijaw people, for us in the Niger Delta, is going to be a referendum on restructuring. The 2019 general election will be about restructuring because it affects the well-being and survival of our people. And we have agreed to support candidates who are genuinely committed to seeing about a restructured and a fairer Nigeria.
Chief Edwin Clark, who also spoke, insisted that any presidential candidate who is opposed to restructuring will face rejection in Ijaw land during the election.
We believe that whoever wants to be, if there's going to be election in 2019, whoever wants to be the president of this country must be the one who has a sincere mandate saying that he believes in restructuring. Anyone who does not believe in restructuring won't vote for that person.
The meeting also set up a 15-man committee which has 5 representatives each from the 3 zones that make up the Ijaw nation. Their responsibility is to look into the issue of restructuring and report to the APC Committee on Restructuring. The committee will submit its report within 3 weeks. Thelma Eliog, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has been commended for his people-oriented projects aimed at restructuring the economy and returning the country to its pride of place. This was at an All Progressives Congress rally in Ekiti State.
Highlighting various achievements of the present administration led by President Buhari at making life more meaningful for Nigerians, include improving the economic status of the country, tackling insecurity, food and agriculture, as well as alleviating sufferings of the masses, hence the importance of the Solidarity Rally by the state chapter of the All Progressives Congress, APC. The rally, which kick-started at the Okenyim area of Ado-Ekiti through the Old Garage, Ijigbo, Ajilosun Streets, before it was rounded off at the state party secretariat to enlighten residents of various efforts made by the federal government in less than 3 years to entrench good governance and achieve socio-economic development in the country.
To solidarize with President Muhammadu Buhari, particularly in the area of delivering electoral promises to the people of Nigeria and Ekiti being part of the nation, benefiting immensely.
And very soon we will highlight all his achievements in the last 2.5 years.
In Ado-Ekiti, Kola Adibobuyi, NTA News.
And To other news, the unfortunate farmers' herdsmen crisis is not just causing conflicts, but dividing Nigeria along unhealthy lines. In Zamfara State, cattle dealers are also thinking that if the cattle train service from Gusau to Lagos was not suspended, they won't have problem getting their livestock to the end buyers. Now, they are more disappointed because the service was suspended just after one shipment, when it was resuscitated about 15 months ago. Jamilu Ibrahim examines the situation.
It was indeed a joyful sight for people of Zamfara State when the Nigerian Railway Corporation flagged off the resumption of cattle train service on 1st September 2016, with a 15-wagon train conveying more than 500 cows from Gusau to Lagos after the service was suspended for more than 30 years. The train service, resuscitated by the Nigeria incentives-based risk-sharing system for agricultural lending, was planned to be a continuous one that will also cover some farm produce to facilitate farmers' access to market and improve agricultural value chain. It, however, stopped abruptly since the first shipment.
Since that first time, the agent appointed by the railway, he was the one who caused the delay. Why? He said the shipment of each cargo is about 90,000, agreed on that very day.
The cattle dealers have since reverted to transporting the cows by road, which is obviously more tedious and more costly, and perhaps poses more risk to the health of the animals.
We were very happy when the scheme was launched. More than 500 cows were conveniently transported from Gusau to Lagos within 32 hours.
We are now forced to go back to the mode of transporting the cows by road, which has a number of disadvantages.
The concerned stakeholders, who said they would continue to make a follow-up on the issue, appealed to the federal government to ensure the restoration of the cattle train service soonest in the interest of the economic development of Zamfara State and the nation at large. A trade value of between 850 billion naira and 950 billion naira could be transacted annually between the north and the south through the suspended train service initiative.
As the Zamfara State Chamber of Commerce, Industries, Mines and Agriculture vows to vigorously pursue the matter, the pertinent question now remains when the much-awaited train services will be restored. In Gusau, Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
Within the 4 decades of operating as a television network in Nigeria, the NTA has had some challenging and a lot of applaudable moments. These together have helped shape the system, making it a brand engraved in people's minds and homes. Cecily Bailey takes us through the early beginning and the need to blow the trumpet at 40.
Let's have a brief history lesson. Television began in Nigeria in 1959 with the then Western Nigerian television, WNTV. This was also the first TV station in Africa, a brainchild of Chief Obafemi Awolowo. A year later, the Eastern Nigerian Television Services, ENTV, followed. In 1962, Radio Television Kaduna was established, as well as the Nigerian Television Service, Lagos. 1972 birthed the Midwestern Television in Port Harcourt, while 1974 saw the emergence of Benue Plateau TV Corporation, BTV, Jos. After years of operating TV regionally, in 1977, all stations were merged to form the Nigerian Television, which later became the Nigerian Television Authority, which had Engineer Vincent Maduka as the first Director General.
NTA had no studios when we started. It had to use stations for making programs, but the law said that NTA headquarters was in charge of network news and network programs. So we built a network news center.
This new network made and launched many talents who gave their time and resources to excel their institution and themselves.
When the thing that gladdened me and made me work so hard and with so much interest was when NTA just became the first color television. It was a thing of pride.
There were some tough moments in NTA, when, perhaps the T&D,
you will not get the money that you need to produce a program, to go to Korodu, to go and rehearse Adekonga's band. So you have to use your own salary.
The NTA over the years have produced multiple talented individuals who today are worthy ambassadors of the network.
The earliest days, one man wrote the script. He was the visual mixer. He was the director. He was the producer.
You did the job of 3 people. So today, I'm still involved in television production, and most of us that worked in NTA, it was a good training for us.
It was a spirit of just was a training ground for me. We worked, and I worked.
To encourage a gradual breakaway from colonialism on our screens, the NTA promoted local talent and productions.
We will never develop local talent if we can get cowboy films, westerns, or musicals. Try and develop talent and programs ourselves.
Oh, the one that really amuse me was the one they call Second Chance, okay, which was designed after the English Mind Your Language.
Despite the challenges, 40 hearty chairs are apt for a giant network at 40. In Abuja, Cecile Egbele, NTA News.
Thank you, Cecile. It's been a long year for the NTA, but the beauty of it all is that the NTA is getting better by the day. You're watching Nationwide on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. Let me take a breather. I'll be back with more reports.
Experience, they say, is the best teacher.
They hold us from the sea. Thank God that we came back home. They should not go there because it's not good. It's a very bad place. So they just may have us. Even now, sir, they are shooting the boat they are going to use to go Italy. Let them stop it. Our country is good. Our country is a blessed country. Now I know our country is a blessed country. I know before I for not travel from Nigeria to Libya. I know how much I spent.
Let these personal experiences serve as a lesson to all who would repeat their mistakes. A word is enough for the wise.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
NTA TV Jos, an affiliate of the prestigious Ahmadu Bello University, organizing a one is reporting the course is scheduled for February 15th March 2018 at the NTA TV College premises, Refueled, Jos. The cost for workshop is 100,000 naira per participant, accommodation inclusive. This course will be targeting professional journalists and those wishing to pursue courses in this field. The course will be teaching participants the act of using mobile phone cameras and digital cameras to generate reports and how these news stories, photos and videos can be produced or even published straight from the field, making the news production process faster and more efficient. Take advantage of this opportunity. NTA TV College, training you to be the best you want to be. For inquiries, contact the academic office on 0806 908 9807, 0816 956 1843.
The time has come for Nigeria to take her rightful place in world sports with the first national Grassroots Sports Festival to discover and prepare sport talents and develop future world champions for Nigeria. The festival date is 3rd to 10th March 2018. Venue is the National Stadium, Abuja, packages A and B. This is the opportunity for you to promote your brand through the festival. For broadcast sponsorship, which include live broadcasts, highlight shows, and TV fans show, contact the Chairman, Chief Coordinator, Angelo Peter I. Elosia, or Nick Onishi. Organizers, Grassroots International Sports Academy and LOP Worldwide Television. Endorsed by the Federal Ministry of Youth and Sports Development. Broadcast partner, NTA.
Thanks for joining us again. The federal government says it will continue to partner more foreign agencies in combating irregular migration in the country. National Commissioner, National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and IDPs, Sadiya Omar Farouk, stated this at the post-2017 National Migration Dialogue and review of the journey so far. Ilyasu Ali Yakubu has the details.
Available records show that from 2015 to 2017 were more challenging years for Nigerian irregular migrants across the world. Statistics indicate that several thousands of Nigerians embarked on the dangerous journey, and out of this number, more than 10,000 irregular Nigerian migrants lost their lives in the process of crossing the Mediterranean Sea, while several others got missing in the desert and some detained and subjected to new form of slave trade in Libya. The federal government under President Muhammadu Buhari constituted a presidential committee led by the Foreign Affairs Minister Geoffrey Onyema, mandated the committee to negotiate the returns of Nigerian migrants across the world. Already, more than 3,000 irregular migrants in Libya have been repatriated. Reviewing the 2017 National Migration Dialogue in collaboration with the Swiss Development Corporation, the National Commissioner on Migration, Sadiya Omar Farouk, said the Commission is poised to providing permanent solution to the menace.
Maybe we'll change the course of the advocacy in highlighting the dangers of irregular migration, because it's agreed migration is good in itself, but it has to be regular.
Is that often we focus a lot on combating illegal migration with sensitization campaigns and just prevention. I think we need to inform more than trying to prevent.
It is expected that the dialogue will initiate a framework that will not only minimize irregular migration, but will also propose policies and programs that will engage the teeming unemployed youths in the country. In Abuja, Ilyasu Ali Yakubu, NTA News.
In the meantime, the federal government says it will build 6 more prisons across the country as part of its desire to reduce overcrowding in the nation's prisons. Minister of Interior, Lieutenant General Abdurrahman Dambazau, stated this at the public presentation of 3 Nigerian prisons survey reports. Femi Okeowo reports.
Even while declaring the realization that building more prisons would not necessarily solve the problem of congestion, the Minister of Interior said it is still important for the nation to invest in the reformation and modernization of its corrective institutions. He said the federal government will therefore build 6 3,000 capacity prisons, 1 in each geopolitical zone of the country. But he added that the best way around the problem of high number of awaiting trial inmates in prisons is for all participants in the nation's criminal justice system to work together to fast-track criminal trials.
In order to deal with this situation, there is need for the Department of Public Prosecution to look at how it processes or what kind of procedure should be adopted in prosecuting cases.
The prison survey report, which is in 3 volumes, is a collaborative research between Nigerian Prison Service and the Prisons Rehabilitation and Welfare Action (PRAWA) to help bring about statistics and data that will improve the running of the nation's prisons.
Unfortunately, we have seen that our prisons today are not at their best.
Today, the prison service has gone a long way, both in its reorganization and in its focus.
Prisons used to be seen as a minority community that the nation could afford to ignore. But more and more, with the events of the Nigerian situation now, people are getting to know that this community's welfare is also tied to the nation's security and general well-being. In Abuja, Femi Okeowo, NTA News.
Elsewhere, the Benue State Commissioner of Police, Fortified, says the command is collaborating with border states to build confidence in the communities affected by crisis in order to douse tension. He disclosed this at an interactive session in Makurdi.
The Commissioner of Police, Mr. Fatai Owosheni, assumed duty at a time Benue State is confronted with various security challenges, including reported cases of suspected herdsmen attacks on some communities. The Police Commissioner, while soliciting the support of all stakeholders, including the media, to ensure peace in the state, said the command has apprehended and arraigned 16 suspects to court through the collaborative efforts of special forces deployed to the state.
So far, we've made 5 arrests. 2 of the suspected attackers who escaped with bullet wounds were arrested, and that has led to 3 more arrests in Nasarawa, and we are working on that.
Mr. Owosheni stressed that the command, under his leadership, is determined to put an end to security challenges, including herdsmen attacks, banditry, and communal clashes. He, however, confirmed that the command has lost 4 officers to the crisis. In Makurdi, Elias Itiaf, NTA News.
And to news trending across the globe, the President of France, Emmanuel Macron, is in Tunisia for a 2-day working visit where he is expected to address the nation's parliament on steps to further boost the close partnership between the 2 countries. For this and other stories trending across the globe, let's join Ado Adamu also.
Thank you and welcome. We start from North Africa, where French President Emmanuel Macron is in Tunisia for 2 days to further boost close partnership between France and the North African country. A 4-point accord setting out ties for years to come in the economy, security, judiciary, cultural and educational spheres were being signed. His office said that Macron, traveling with a delegation of business leaders and cultural figures, will give a major speech Thursday before Parliament to Zimbabwe now, where European Union delegation Caroline Harare has said that Zimbabweans are now expressing themselves freely since the ouster of ex-President Robert Mugabe in November. Speaking during an EU-funded justice sector support program in the capital, one of the EU envoys, Philip Danven, said that the Western Bloc had realized that since the ouster of the former president, the country was becoming a democracy. Scores of Rohingya villagers in Myanmar have been massacred and buried in 5 mass graves, according to an exclusive investigation by the Associated Press news agency. Estimates suggest 400 members of the persecuted minority were killed by Burmese troops. The mass killing is believed to have taken place on August 27, 2017, and survivors said that soldiers had tried to cover up evidence of the atrocity. And that is it from here. The news continues.
And now to sports matters. President Muhammadu Buhari has congratulated the home-based Super Eagles of Nigeria on their victory over Sudan in the semi-final of the 2018 Championship of African Nations in Marrakesh, Morocco. A statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Media, Femi Adesina, says President Buhari joins millions of football-loving Nigerians in celebrating the spectacular performance of the team, which qualified them for the finals on Sunday with Morocco. The president commended their hard work and indomitable spirit and urged them to remain focused and determined as they go for gold in the final match on Sunday. The president assured them of the unflinching support, goodwill and prayers of the federal government and all Nigerians as they soar for victory. Invited Super Falcons players to resume training in Abuja on Friday as Nigerians hail home-based Super Eagles for booking ticket for Sunday final in African Nations Championship. Tamara Ibiwe has the report.